What's up, Thrashers, and welcome back once again to the Thrash Maniac 99 YouTube channel, and I am back with yet another album review. Now, generally I was thinking of skipping this one, but I thought, you know what, since it was a pretty slow weekend, I decided, you know what, I might as well talk about it. I am talking about the latest offering from Lacuna Coil, Sleepless Empire. This also came out on Valentine's Day, this time on Century Media Records, and of course, yeah, this band, well, okay, to kind of preface, so I've only listened to select songs from Lacuna Coil, and I liked them, you know, like R-Truth. I really liked their cover of Depeche Mode's Enjoy the Silence, also, you know, Heaven's a Lie, and there's quite a few other songs that I've checked out in the past here and there, and I liked what I heard. This was all pre-2006, so... Because really, it was like after Karma Code came out in 2006, from what I remember, and also just from what people have told me, it's like the souls got sucked out of this band, pretty much. And I mean, you know, pretty much it's still fronted by Christina Scabbia, who I do still think is not only one of the most beautiful women in metal, but also one of the best female vocalists in metal. So she's still there. Andrea Farrow is also in the band, still doing the male vocals. But it's like musically they have changed so much over time from what I've heard and what I know. And for a lot of people, it's not been for the better. So I was curious, how does the band sound in 2025? Well, we kick things off with The Siege, which starts off with this, like, cool cinematic build with, like, cool wailing vocals from Christina. And then in comes one of the big, drastic changes of the band, and that's Andrea's vocals. Like, before probably the last decade, I'm just assuming, Andrea had more of a clean delivery and complimented Christina very well. Here, he's like trying to do almost like a mid-ranged growl. And while it's not bad, it kind of collides with everything that this album is doing. Like, it's very much like, not really contrasting, it's colliding. And there's even some riff ideas and musical ideas that I feel kind of contradict, in my opinion, what I thought Lacuna Coil was. But thankfully, when Christina's vocals come in on a lot of these songs, they get better, and that's not just because of her voice, but also, like, musically, it complements her vocals. And even here on the opening track, The Siege, she's getting in the high-range vocal, which she can hit some big notes. She's got some pipes on her, even still at, like, in her early 50s, not only looking great, but sounding great, which is awesome. But then... we get into kind of like a bumpy fucking ride with the rest of this album, as the next three tracks, Oxygen, Scarecrow, and Gravity, which weird dumb titles, I must admit. Oxygen itself, it's mostly just generic riffs that just kind of sound like cut-paste metalcore almost. It's like a lot of these songs kind of go for like almost like a metalcore feel with pretensions of gothicness to it. And with Oxygen, it's like, yeah, you do actually get a couple of spots where it sounds like it's going to have potential, like there's some tremolo riffs and even a symphonic moment with a gothic feel. But other than that, and also some weird vocal effects, and that comes back again on Scarecrow, but it's even worse. Like, I don't think you need vocal effects to drive home a point you're trying to make in a song. And also, Scarecrow just had weird-ass electronics. And then Gravity starts off with potential with some chants and some, like, gothic overtones, before it just goes back to generic guitars and generic everything. It was just, yeah, it's starting off on a rather bumpy note. But then you get to the shortest track of the album at under 3 minutes, I Wish You Were Dead. This one actually was a lot better, even though it's still kind of like radio metal. It's better than I thought it was going to be. It actually is kind of catchy. And also the music video, too, was actually pretty damn entertaining as well. So, finally, a song I actually can get behind. And then we get into Hosting the Shadow, which is the first of 2 songs with guest vocals. This one featuring Randy Blythe from Lamb of God, which I think is a very weird mix. Starts off again with potential, with a somber melodic riff. And then musically, it's just cookie cutter metalcore, and Randy sounds so out of place on this song. I'll be honest, what this song should have been was like a gothic, doomy song, and Randy doing his clean vocals like he does on the song Overlord off of Seven Sturm und Drang, which I think Randy's clean vocals are pretty damn good. I think if this song was like a gothic doom song and Randy did the clean vocals, then it probably would have been something great. But instead, we just get Metalcore 101 with pretensions of gothic moments. But then we finally get into another song I can actually get behind, and that's Ename Patrice. Chance, and we finally get some gothic metal up in here. There's even some like really cool bordering on classic heavy metal gallops, though I wouldn't really go that far. And the song does have a slight typo negative feel to it, like a modernized, heavier typo negative, with like the atmosphere, some of the riff work, and even a guitar solo shows up, which I was hoping to hear some lead play, because Marco, I think, is a kind of an underrated guitarist, and he's able to show a little bit of chops. Granted, they were a bit basic in the leads, but still, the fact that he's doing them gave this album a little bit of a fresh coat of paint. The title track, again, kind of the same problem. Starts off with potential before it goes back to bland genericy. But Sleep Paralysis, the longest track of the album at over nearly 5.5 minutes, cool tapping guitars in the beginning, the strings complement everything nicely, and it's a darker song, and it's definitely back more towards gothic. Granted, you still get some bland metalcore parts, but you do get another really cool lead moment. And then the song In the Meantime, which features Ash Costello, and yeah, the song itself's just bland metalcore drabble. And then Never Dawn, again, starts off with potential, folky chants. You almost think they're going for like a gothic folk song. And then we get like a low-rent Periphery moment, which I was not into. And again, Andrea's vocals kind of ruin the song. You do get some solid gallops, but that's really about it. So yeah, you pretty much get the idea of what I think about this album. It's like the songs, it's like Lacuna Coil for a while, like from the late 90s until the mid-2000s, they were seen as a premier band within the gothic metal world. Granted, Karma Code started the shift towards probably where they are now, but they still, at least on the songs I've listened to, capture their sound in a decent way. It's just done heavier. Whereas here, it's like, again, feels like the souls got sucked out of this band, pretty much. And really, as far as songs I would really want to go back to, there's only a few on here. Like, I Wish You Were Dead because of how catchy it is. And Ename Patrice because it kind of feels like something Lacuna Coil would have done back in the day. And then Sleep Paralysis, minus the metalcore moments, definitely had more to it than most songs on the album. But everything else, again, it's like starts off with potential, or there's little pepperings of that old Lacuna Coil that I remembered hearing songs from, before it just goes off into just safe, bland, generic, modern radio metal, what have you. So, because of that, I'm going to give this a 1.5 out of 5. You know, this album was a bit of a chore to get through. Again, apart from a few songs, everything else on here, it's just cut and paste, riff here, and just Andrea's vocals kind of really ruined this album for me. I'm not saying he's like a bad vocalist or his growls are bad. It's just they collide so much with what's going on here, or what it sounds like they're trying to do, and it just doesn't translate very well. Honestly, if it were me, Lacuna Coil needs to kind of rethink everything and go back to their roots of being like more doomy, maybe not so much doomy, but more just straight up gothic metal, and let Christina do the majority of vocals. And I think the band would be better off. But considering that they've been enjoying the fruits of their labor for nearly 20 years, I don't think a course correction is going to happen anytime soon. So, but if you enjoy this album, then go out and get it, play it as much as you want. I'm sure this album's going to have its fans. Apart from a few songs, I'm not one of them. Again, I feel like this band has lost a lot of their soul, and something needs to change. But of course, those are just my opinions. What did you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. But until next time, thank you for watching. Keep your horns high and your dreams wet.